So today we're going to look at how to audit an education, health and care plan utilising the Invision360 QA tool. Hopefully, if you've been sent this recording, you're going to be contributing to your local authorities auditing utilising this tool. And today I'm going to take 15 to 20 minutes to just walk you through how you'd complete an audit utilising this tool. So first thing to note is it's an entirely cloud-based tool. So you don't need to download or install anything to access our tools. You should have received an email to log in, which will let you do your first time account setup. When you do that, you'll have to enter a password and you'll use that each time you want to log in. You can log in by going to Invision360.com in your browser, searching for Invision360 in Edge, Safari, Google Chrome, whatever web browser you're using, or any time an audit is assigned to you, you should receive a direct link to go to that audit and start work. For now, if I come to our website, you can see in the top right hand corner here, we have an option to log in, and we would select the EHCP QA module from this, which would take us to a page that looks like this. From here, you'll note that I have a few options across the top of my screen. If you're set up as just an auditor, you won't see the report and coordinator tabs. You'll just see audit and EHCP. Whereas if you have admin or report permissions, you might see those other tabs. Don't worry about those for now. We're just going to talk you through the audit and EHCP side of things. So you can see here that I have one audit that's in progress, that's at the summary screen waiting for me, and two audits that I'm yet to start. The tool saves as we go, so I don't need to complete this audit in one sitting, and it should take me around 30 minutes to complete. The plans themselves aren't saved or transferred via Invision360, so you should have received an email from whoever's the coordinator for your audits, signposting you to where you'll access that EHCP. It might be sent via an email or a secure Microsoft Teams channel or a SharePoint, or you might be signposted to your case management system. But the plan won't be shared via Invision360, so it's important that you have eyes on that plan. What we'll need to do is check with our CYP ID number, the ID here, which is usually your case management system number, the key stage, primary area of need, the setting name and type, and the date that the plan was finalised to make sure that we're looking at the right plan. If there's any discrepancies here, just flag that to your coordinator to make sure we're auditing the right child or young person's plan. From here, I can click into proceed to audit, and it'll ask me again just to confirm these are the right details on the plan that I'm looking at. And just remind me that the audit is only saved when next section is clicked, and that the tool will take the grading from the lowest of the criteria bandings that I select, which will make more sense once I've shown you the tool. So once I'm happy with that, I can click here that it's the right audit and I'd like to begin, and you'll see I've got a blue hyperlink in the bottom right hand corner. As I'm moving through the tool, everything's going to be in the bottom right hand corner. So save and go to next section, click to begin, submit is always going to be a hyperlink in the bottom right hand corner of our tool. So when I begin the audit, you'll see that I have a list of criteria, as this is a criteria based tool. We won't be able to anecdotally or subjectively say that this is outstanding, good, requires improvement or inadequate. The tool is going to make that decision for us based on the criteria that we select. One thing to note, if you're watching this video after April 2025, you may see that the grading terminology at the top of your screen has changed. Instead of the old Ofsted gradings of outstanding, good, requires improvement and inadequate, these gradings will be changing to gold, silver, bronze and significant gaps. This won't change the way that you audit a plan or the rest of the criteria at this time. So the rest of the video that you're going to watch will be exactly the same and will still apply to how you're going to go ahead and do your audit. The only change will be the labels that we have at the top of the screen here. There's some helpful prompts under each section of the tool, which you can see here. What does a good look like? So this will be a very short, succinct sentence about what a good section A might look like. And how do I choose the correct criteria, which provides a handy flowchart just for a refresher when you're doing the audit on how to choose the correct criteria. The flowchart tells us that we always start against the good gradings, which will be the ones that ribbon out for us here. So going to make this a little bigger so it's a bit easier for me to see. So what I'll do is I'll always start against the good gradings in section A and read my EHCP, whether I've got that on another tab, another monitor, or a hard copy that's been printed out. I'm reading section A of my EHCP and I'm reading the criteria that I have on the list here. As I'm doing so, I'm selecting any of these criteria that are met. So, for example, the section gives a positive and holistic overview of the child or young person. The reader of the document can see the child or young person as an individual, and so on. You'll note that as I'm doing this, the grading boundaries at the top of the screen light up to show me where the EHCP currently sits in terms of quality. The more of these I select, the higher up amongst the good criteria it will go, and the more likely I am to secure a good grading. It's important to note that not all of these are weighted equally. Some of them might not contribute as much towards the good grading as others, and it's absolutely fine for us to leave some of these blank if these aren't being hit within the section A that we're looking at. Once I've graded everything I can from the good grading, I'll refer back to my bar at the top here, and I can see that good is lit up so that I've secured at least a good grading. How to choose the correct criteria will tell me that if I've met at least 50% of the good criteria, I then check the relevant outstanding boxes. So I don't need to go into every grading boundary. In this case, I won't be going into requires improvement or inadequate. I'll just be repeating this against the outstanding criteria. You can see here that a few of these might have not applicable drop downs next to them. It should be relatively self-explanatory when to use these as you're going through the tool, but these will usually relate to things like PFA, where the child is not Year 9+, you may wish to select not applicable, or if the section's been updated following annual review, and this is a newly issued plan that has not yet been through annual review. Clicking the not applicable just makes that selection almost invisible. It removes it from the criteria, so you can see that our outstanding criteria is now 0 out of 4 rather than 0 out of 5. And it may be that I'm able to select one or two of these, but not enough for this to become an outstanding section A, and that's absolutely fine. The last thing I do as an auditor is leave some qualitative comments at the top here. So you can see I have this free text box, and I'll pop any text in here. So I can write anything I like. Typically, how this will be done is a few bullet points about strengths of the section and areas that could be further improved. When I'm happy with that, I'll hit save and go to next section and proceed through the audit. Let's say for section B, I'm not able to select enough of the good criteria for this to move up into a good bounding here. I selected 2, but requires improvement is still lit up on the top here. And I'm saying that the section doesn't clearly summarise all of the relevant key SEND needs or information on the impact. From here, I'll check my flowchart, and I can see here if the section's blank, incoherent, or extremely limited, I move down to inadequate, or if it's not, I select the requires improvement boundings. I'll ribbon open inadequate here, and we can see here the child's SEND needs are not clearly identified or in this section. So I'll select this, and as mentioned in the intro, that will then bring this section down to an inadequate grading, even though I've ticked a few of the good. It's important to note that sections only get saved when I hit save and go to next section. So if I do some work here and then navigate away from the tool and come back, it loses any of the information I've put in. So it's really important when you are finished with each section, you are hitting that save button and not just navigating away from the tool. You'll notice that sections C, D, G, H1 and H2 have the introduction of not applicable as a banding. This is because not every child or young person will have healthcare or social care needs or provision included in their EHCP. But in order for us to select not applicable as an auditor, it has to be stated in this section that there are no health needs. If it's just left blank or states not known to service, I'd have to grade that as inadequate as being blank or unclear to lay readers. Because a lay reader to this plan, they wouldn't know if there were health needs for this child or young person or not. If there is a statement in there though, and there's an example provided in the tool, according to all professional advice used to draft the EHCP, child's name has no identified exceptional health needs, I'd be able to select not applicable, and that would remove section C from the weighting for the overall grading. Exactly the same with section D. You'll notice that the statement's a little bit more in depth here, but it states it's clearly and comprehensively stated there are no social care needs, and a recognition that a lack of social care advice could be misleading. If a child or young person is not known to social care, it doesn't necessarily mean that there are no social care needs, and you've got an example statement there as well. This is how we'll go ahead to complete our audit. We'll move from section to section, selecting the correct criteria and leaving comments as we go through. The tool, as I mentioned, saves as we go. So if I navigate away now, you'll see that this plan on the bottom here that was in audits not yet started is now at the top of the screen as one of my audits in progress, with section E as my next section to grade. I'll open this one that's on the summary so that you can see what happens when we get to the end of our audit. So when we get to the end of our audit, we get this summary page which says, based on our selections, the overall grading of the plan, our section by section breakdown, and we can leave any audit actions here. So if we want to leave any actions that we think need to be undertaken when this plan is next amended, we can remove those by just clicking on the little trash can icon. We can also go back in and change any of the responses that we've left so far at this point, because we haven't yet submitted the plan. So if I wanted to go back into any of these sections, I could go into section D, for example, modify some of the criteria. You'll see I get my little asterisks on the sidebar here that lets me know that it's not been saved. I hit save and go to next section, and then that change will be reflected. And we can go through and amend and change any of this right up until we hit the submit button. And a few things to note are, with section K, it's just going to be good or requires improvement. We won't have all four of the bandings. And when you are doing an audit on the Invision360 EHCP tool, we're not auditing the advice that informs the EHCP. We're just auditing the EHCP as a finalised document. So section K will just ask whether it lists all of the professional reports used in drafting the EHCP, shows the way the information was gathered, and provides the full details on the person that's contributing to the plan. Additional components won't impact the grading of our EHCP, but these questions do promote best practice. So as you'll go through, you'll notice these questions ask, it's indicated as to whether the EHCP is a draft or a final, the date on it's finalised, it's signed by a local authority officer, it's available in accessible formats, and the child and family details and contact information are completed fully. When we're happy with all of this, we just hit submit in the bottom right hand corner, and our work here as an auditor is done. So what happens to our data once we've submitted it? So for every audit that's completed, you'll get one of these PDF summaries that's available to download by anyone with the coordinator access within the tool. This will tell you who completed the audit, when it was completed, and the grading of the plan, alongside our section by section breakdown and any criteria and comments that were selected. The tool will also provide complete exports where we can see the breakdown of our gradings for a specific time period, our section by section breakdown, alongside all of those qualitative comments that you've left as auditors. So if there are any areas that we see here that we might want to deep dive further into, we can refer into the comments straight away and look into those. The last thing I'll show you is the tool allows benchmarking. So anyone with the reporting access will be able to come into the tool here, select whichever sections they'd like to benchmark against the other 60 local authorities utilising Invision360. So let's say we want to look at sections B and E. We can then manipulate this data, adding legends, changing those into bar charts or pie charts as required, and we can see how the gradings of section E in our local authority compare to the anonymised data of the other users of the tool. So this is how you'll utilise the Invision360 EHCP tool to go ahead and complete any audits that you're assigned for the coming audit cycles. If you have any questions, if you'd like to go over any of this, please do contact us at support@invision360.com. And we're always happy to jump on a quick call and answer any questions or support you with getting up and running and utilising the Invision360 audit tool. And thanks very much for watching.